Thank you so very much, and welcome once more to Uongozi Institute's African Leadership Forum 2016, and an even greater thanks and welcome to the afternoon session, the Youth Dialogue. I'd like to welcome His Excellency, former President of the United Republic of Tanzania, President Benjamin William Mkapa. I'd also like to welcome with us this afternoon Professor Sembonyo, who is the CEO of Uongozi Institute. Elsie Kanza, welcome very much. I know that you represent the World Economic Forum, and I pray that I still have that right. A board member, so that is the capacity in which you visit with us this afternoon. Asante sana and welcome. And of course, our keynote speaker for today, Susan Mashibe, you'll hear from soon after. So without further ado, may I please welcome President Mkapa for opening remarks, and we'll continue with the afternoon's proceedings.
Not discriminatory, that's why I'm here. I came here to reassure you that you are very much part of the forum, but we thought you would be freer to discuss and arrive conclusions away from the shadow of your elders ourselves. Feel free, because the subject really concerns you very much more than some of us. All of us at the high table there, I'm sure, will be gone by 2063. But many of you will still be there. But even more important is that the build-up to 2063 depends upon your leadership, your efforts, your perceptions, your planning, and your execution. So that is why we said perhaps you should have time to your own to reflect alike. Two things I want to stress. First, as you discuss this issue and look at the environment in which the private sector is evolving, or the economy is evolving, you must bear in mind the constraining factors for the growth of the private sector, particularly in the countries of Southern Africa, which have been free only for less than 50 years. But, well, actually, some of them for even less than 20 years, because they had to fight for their liberation struggle, for their liberation. And so they are very special circumstances that even you can consider about enlarging the private sector to include more of the dispossessed and so on, is a miracle in itself. So don't ask for miracles to happen. That is a good starting point of bearing that. I mean, Namibia, 1995, South Africa, Zimbabwe, 1980. Before that, there was no real African participation there, really. And so if you bear that constraint in mind, you have a much more realistic discussion about where to start empowering and then creating the institutional framework for enabling the majority participation in the growth of the economy. That's the first one I mentioned. The second one is to stress the point that development must mean self-development. You know, there are those who complain that we have an aid syndrome, the aid dependence syndrome. And a lot, well, we are here in my country, I can say this, we are a very good example. If you look at the newspapers, every time the ambassador meets the president and promises 20,000 or $20 million, we say, you know, has come to us now, salvation has come. We had the president of India, the prime minister of India visit here about 2 weeks ago, and he inaugurated the special fund for Africa, in which we had a very large share. And he said, you know, grace comes from India to Tanzania. That kind of aid dependence is not conducive to development. Development means self-development. And that is why I placed a lot of emphasis in 2063 too, that we have a wealth of natural resources and endowments which we ourselves must exploit for our development and our economic growth. If we don't do it in this rough world, others will come and develop them for their development rather than for ours. But you must resolve first to own and talk about how that process of ownership will be maneuvered, And secondly, you must acquire the knowledge, as someone said there, to be able to deploy that knowledge in order to exploit those natural resources and endowments that you have. And thirdly, you must fight for the markets where you can send your value-added or even your raw materials and get a good price for what you sell. That is why I spoke about how government has the obligation to create a market-friendly environment for the growth of African industry and value addition. If you bear those for me, I shall be very happy. I wish you good discussions. And finally, you will come to report, well, not to report to the plenary about the nature of your discussions and such conclusions as you may agree or disagree upon. I wish you every success. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
May I now go to join my elders? Thank you. Thank you.